as we go through this demo today, I'm also going to be sending around some mistakes that I've made. When I've been doing this. So we'll get going on that. Have all the handouts been distributed throughout the group yet? Are they about? I think just about everyone have one. Yay, nay. Looks like it. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about. Let me tell you a little bit of how. Have you ever heard of silicone oil for this?
A little wax would help.
Yeah, some silicone oil would go well. Back in 2012, a lady named Barbara Dill did a demonstration down at SWAT. And she does a lot of all of her work is primarily multi-axis turning. That's all she does. On the handouts that are out there, give some of her contact information on there. If you want to see some of her work, probably the best place to go is on Instagram. Her on Instagram, it's bdeal6. She does some very artistic looking multi-axis work, and so I guess the best way I can say about what I'm going to do today is that I saw this little cup in amongst all of her displays at her demo back in 2012, and I was intrigued by it. I said, I'd like to learn how to do that. So I bought her book. Unfortunately, I loaned my book that I bought to somebody, and it never returned to me. And so that happens a lot, And so and as far as I know, JB is probably the one that has it, if the truth be known. But the one that's unfinished is the very first one I ever made, and it actually turned out pretty good the first time. Some of the other ones that I've made were the second one I turned out. That's one I did for a demo for our club back. I've got the year written. It's probably 2015 or so. I don't even remember. But I did do this demonstration for this club back in 2016. I do see a lot of new faces here. There are a lot of brand new faces here. So it's good to see that there's a lot of new members here in the club. I am a member of the Panhandle chapter up in it's Amarillo Canyon area, and our group is not near as numerous as what we have here today. So we are lucky to have 15 to 20 members show up. We do meet the second Saturday of every month. And y'all are always welcome to come attend. So, what we're going to do, I think on our handout I've explained a little bit. And I'm going to hand around another piece. This is going to be a piece. There's a friend of mine who wanted me to make a set of shot glasses out of these, and so what I did, I just made one piece. I'm going to cut it in two, make him two shot glasses. Okay. That's what this piece is gonna be. Okay? So, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. A lot of this is, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna have to clear that up a bit. Let me do that first. The piece that I'm turning today is a piece of apricot. Smell fruity? What's that? Smell fruity? Not really. Seems like I've done some pear or peach that's fruity smelling. Yeah. And what you do when you do these is this is a bit smaller. To cut a three-sided cup, you have to remember that that a circle is divided into 360 degrees, and divide that by 120 degrees. And so I have a template over here that I have that I can put up here. I'm going to take this off here in just a minute. Now, one thing that when you're making these, one thing that you have to remember. Now you notice this thing has a check in it. That's something I'll have to repair that later. But the one thing that you have to think about is how you're going to hollow out the inside when you're done, because you see what the shape of that thing looks like. So you have to put a tenon on one end of it. So, but you don't do that now. You do that later. But you have to just make sure. And I've got a set of calipers here. I've already pre-measured what I need, so I can probably make that just a bit smaller. And I'm going to. Okay, yeah, I can make that work. All right, this is going to be the bottom. This is going to be the top. I'm going to send around a couple of more pieces here, and what these pieces are, these are pieces that sort of show what I'm going to be doing next. It's going to be sort of hard to show, but it shows how I lay out the axis on both ends, and then I will explain the rest when we get to that part. Here's one that I've already turned. It just needs to be finished. But anyway, There we go. Okay, as I said, I got to take this off. This template here, this is an aluminum template, and you notice that it's laid out into 120-degree segments. It's got a 0 point mark on it. I really don't use it for that, but this thing has been machined to fit directly onto that part of a Powermatic lathe, which that's what I have at home. And then I'm just going to stick this back on here, and just for the purpose of laying out my marks. And I use a Sharpie to do this, and a pencil, and it works quite well. I've never had any issues with it. And as you can see, that this aluminum piece is machined to the tolerances where it can spin with your lathe spindle. So, and what I do, I just take a Sharpie and I just come in here and I just put marks at each segment, each 120-degree segment, and you'll be able to see them when they come around.
So you're lining that up with your tool rest, right?
I'm using the tool rest as a straight edge, yes. And I tell you what, I am going I'm gonna go ahead and take that off now, because I gotta get this out of the way.
Now I'm going to guess that 120-degree jig is something Michael could probably do on his CNC. Very easy.
Okay. Now what I do from here, I have just a metal straight edge here, and I just come in here and I transfer these marks over to each one of these marks over to the flat edge of this, and you might be able to see on some of those that have come around what they what they look like, and you'll also notice that there's a circle drawn on there. Now, did y'all all see that circle that was drawn on the end? Okay, that point can be varied in diameter depending on what shape you want. And now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use my straight edge here to go exactly to the center point. On each one of these, and to each one of those lines that I've scribed. So that I can have an intersection point for that, along that arc that's going to be drawn on each side. Does that make sense to everybody? You know, one thing about doing this type of turning is you know, this offset turning, you do have to exercise a lot of safety on this because of the way the work is spinning. I have had them come off the lathe before, and that's really not something that you want, but we will try to prevent that from happening today. Now, okay, what I'm going to do now, I am going to scribe that circle on here. I'm going to be using the tool rest here as just a guide for my pencil, and this is just something I'm going to do by hand. And it's just sort of a judgment call. With this being the top, that's going to be where these intersect. I'll take it off here in a minute and I'll show you. But where all of these intersect these lines that I have transcribed on the
So if I understand correctly, they don't have to be the same on both ends.
No, they don't have to be the same on both ends, and I'm going to pull it off and show. But what I do want to do, and it's easier to do this when it's off the lathe. We have something that looks like that. Sir, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And you notice that this is going to be the top, and this one's going to be the bottom. Now, what's important here is when you're coming in here and labeling these, you label these, and I may use a Sharpie to do this because sometimes, as you noticed on one of those pieces that comes around your spur drive. I'm gonna pass this around right quick because this is a spur drive I'm gonna be using to hold this and to turn this. It's quite a bit smaller than you would normally use. You can get those at Penn State. And I think, JB, didn't we find where you get those at Woodcraft as well? Or is it Craft Supply?
I think Craft Supply has some, and also the Walnut Log has some.
Okay. Sir, can you see this?
Probably the first time he's ever been called sir.
Okay, well, I work in a profession, I work for an engineering consulting firm, so that's just a habit I've gotten into. So working with the various consultants, the people we consult with, it's just a habit I've gotten into. You noticed I have marked each one of these 1, 2, and 3. What I will do is to this one on this end, same end. That one is 1. This one will also be 1. It will be labeled as 1. This one here is labeled as 3. The one exactly opposite will be labeled as 3. And then the only one left is 2 on this end. So naturally it's 2. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about any of this? Has that spur drive made it around just yet? I'll go ahead and pass it all the way around. I want everyone to get a look at it because it's something that not everybody uses on a regular basis, and because I've still got a few things to do to this. What I will do is at each of these intersection points, I have a little, what do you call this?
Scratch off.
Yeah, just an awl. I'm just gonna.
You probably won that one here at some point in time.
Well, I could have.
Oh no, that's one you got from Harbor Freight.
No, I don't think I got it from Harbor Freight.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. As you can tell, we're brothers, you know.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it because Jim Alba ain't giving me a hard time.
Yeah.
Do roll, start up. Carol make that one too?
What's that?
No, that was his son.
My son made that. That's polyethylene.
Yeah.
Yeah. JB mentioned that the younger generation that's the
Fingers crossed this week.
I think any plastic that has that triangle on the bottom of it that's labeled
2.
2.
And what he did was cut them in small pieces, put it in a can, stuck it in the oven.
But he layered it and melts, and it turns just like butter, you know. And when you turned it, but I think he gave it to me, and I turned the handle for it and stuck it in there with some. Okay, when we get to this point, I normally just start with number. Make sure I'm on the right end. No, I wouldn't. I always start with putting number 1 down here. Number 1 down here, and I go to number 2 on this end. All right, and even though this seems like a easy concept, I have screwed it up before, you know, and so and I wanted to ask y'all a question. Those of y'all that know more about tooling than I do, have y'all ever seen a live center that will accept a Morse taper number 2?
Yes. You mean it's designed for a number 2 MP?
A live center that will
Fit into a number 2 MP. Yeah, that's not that uncommon. Yeah, no, I think you're talking
No, you're wanting a number 2 Morse taper on the tip.
on this
Oh,
end,
on the tip.
on this that will spin.
My lady has a
Because I am wanting to get another one of these to be able to put here.
Nova.
Have y'all ever seen?
The Nova, like Comet 2 has what you said
Does it?
is number 2. Yeah.
I'd check the walnut log because he's a Nova dealer.
The walnut log. Okay.
In the robust and in them kind of tailstocks, you can change that little point in the end.
But it's a fairly small hole.
Yeah, but I'm looking for something that will accept a live center that will accept a Morse taper number 2. And I've never seen one. Okay, when you're trying to situate your tool rest here,
If it comes off, Tim will catch it.
Be ready, Tim.
yeah, he's gonna be right there in the firing line.
Put your hat on. So we're gonna bring him to catch it.
They should.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna slow this down just a little bit so that y'all can see how that thing's gonna be turning.
It does got big.
I wasn't joking.
He's second guessing that front row right about now.
This is where you see the aisle story.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of.
Okay, now,
This is probably gonna go straight out. If you want to go on the side.
some of y'all may be surprised at what I'm gonna be doing this with. It's a roughing gouge, okay? And the reason being that the shape I'm gonna be turning this because what I'm wanting this to be, I'm just wanting it to be just a drinking glass. That's what I want it to be when it's finished. I'm not gonna do any fancy shape to it. It's just gonna be a glass, okay? So I don't need any fancy tool, but when you're turning this, I wish we had sort of a top view where you could see this. You see this, these tenons turned on both ends. You do not want to get into turn this part into the tenon. Now I'm gonna send around an example of where I have done this. Okay.
And that's messed up, right?
Yeah, this is an error. Okay. And it's on the bottom side. Okay. And that is a piece of Bodar. That's a Bodar post that I was going to do this, and that's an old. It is an old Bodar post. Yeah. From probably the 1880s. And so when I turn these, I try to do the end out here by these tenons first, and so I do a lot of starting and stopping to make sure I'm not getting into these tenons. Okay, because like I said, this tenon on this end, I've got to put a dovetail on it to accept a chuck to be able to grab a hold of it and haul it out at the end. So that's another reason why you don't want to mess that one up. So I'm gonna exercise a little bit of safety here. So.
Do you have an extra one of those?
It's good gift from Pat. What RPM do you use? This is good stuff.
How fast do you turn? RPM?
I'll tell you here in a minute. I had it going at. That's almost 1,000 right there. I probably won't go any faster than
You lose your courage.
Very long.
said he was taking very light cuts.
And you see right there how close I am already to that? Okay, I'm right on that tenon right there. Okay, so I'm not gonna do any more cutting right here because I'm right on it. Okay. Now I did speed it up to about 1400 because it wasn't cutting very well, so we're gonna continue here. I'm making sure nothing moved. I'm making sure nothing moved when it did that. So.
So that cut there, you were just connecting the 2 points, correct?
Yeah, and what I'm doing, I was connecting the 2 points and then just seeing what else I have to do to it. Before I move to the next facet. I call them facets, but you can call it whatever you
Could you
want.
turn it towards the camera so that everyone can see your...
Can everybody see that?
Somebody's
Okay, I kind of like that.
Are you going straight across?
Now I'm sort of,
Okay,
I've sort of got a concave shape going.
I've got this idea. We're gonna get this. Because I noticed from where I was sitting, he is watching the ghost. But you cannot see the ghost.
You cannot see it. You can't see it.
Does that help with the ghost?
No, what I was trying to achieve is some sort of a concave type surface. And can you see it like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Got just a little more to do right there. And you know, the really fun part on these is trying to get them where they all look the same. You know, that's the fun part because, you know, if this was any other thing, you could put a template on it. And but on this you cannot. So so you can, and after you change axes, you can't see the ghost of the other template. And so that's why this is interesting. So you sort of have to get a memory of what you're doing when you're doing these. So all right, we're gonna change here. Okay, we're gonna change here. We're gonna go to number 2 on this end.
3 on the
And 3 on the other end.
What combinations are you using? You start with 1 and 1.
1 and 2, and then 2 and 3.
3 and 1.
I had another brainstorm. It will help you see it. Yeah.
heavy-handed on that one, but I think it'll be all right.
He said he got heavy-handed on that one, but he thinks it'll be all right.
Which tool are you using?
Roughing gouge.
Okay, as you can see right there, there's two sides of it. I think I need to go just a little bit. Yep. You get a pretty good curve on
This one right there. You need a little more curve up in here.
I need more
Feel it.
curve down here.
Well, feel it.
Yep. I need just a little more down here. So I'm comparing the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have it. So we need just a little more down on the bottom side of it. Huh? 10 minutes. Okay, well, we can do that. Okay. That's the side we're gonna finish last right here, okay? We're gonna go to 3. And then we're gonna go back to 1 on this end right here.
Okay, you're between 1 and what now? 1 and 3. Okay.
Okay, Bill, we have a question.
Uh-huh.
What finish do you put on it to make it like a usable cup?
Usually, well, I've done CA in the past on the inside. I was talking to my son about this, and he was telling me about a process about some sort of slow setting epoxy on. You can buy these things at Home Depot. It's a cup rotisserie. Have anyone ever seen any of those?
A cup rotisserie.
Yeah, they have a Hobby Lobby here. That's what they do on the outside of the mugs.
Somewhere.
Yeah, it comes with.
And then we go back to each side first. If you see it sometimes. If you see it, I don't know. Okay, you just use the 30-minute practice.
I was thinking for the glass cup.
Okay. I did have a question about ghost. Okay. The ghost is as it's spinning where he's actually cutting. When it comes to the top, that's what you're looking at.
And when you're turning something like this, the ghost is that's really the only thing you can see. So what we're going to do next, I am going to just mount this back between centers because basically the outside shape of the cup is done. we had some, there was a little bit of tear out here on some of the tips, but what we can do with that, we can go in there and we can just cut it off and they'll be gone. One thing you might note on some of the ones, if you hold that up, you'll notice that the top of it is scalloped.
Yeah.
I do that on a bandsaw and then go in there and let me show this right here. Between this point and this point, it's sort of,
Okay, right there. Perfect.
This is sort of scalloped out, and then all three of them are done that way, and that is just for it makes more appearance. Now, the biggest one of these I've ever made is probably about a foot tall, probably 4 to 5 inches in diameter. It's a vase, a mesquite vase I made for our mother. And so you can make these in pretty much any size that works for you, or that you feel comfortable in making. So,
What you make out on these in general, if you do them very small, don't do more than about 3 axes because it bubbles together and you don't get a distinct edge,
right.
especially after you sand it. So
Yeah, and these you do have to hand sand.
yeah, if it's smaller than as you get them bigger in diameter, the more massive you can make that too.
Do you use any sort of disc when you're sanding?
Yeah, I use it's one of those right angle disc sanders. Sand these things with.
Why did you put a tenon on both sides? I know that's a stupid question, but
Well, that's just the one. The other tenon I use on this side is just for a guide only, as far as how
the diameter.
No, it's to tell you, it's to give you a guide as to okay, quit here. Don't go any deeper.
Gotcha.
And then what we do after this is I put it in. I just put it in a chuck here. Like I said, I just put some dovetails on there just to hold it in here. And I will use I'll put a Jacob's chuck in here, and we will drill this thing out with a Forstner bit. Now this is the club's. That's not mine.
Do you already got a mark on that to know how deep to go?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
And my forstner bit is not the sharpest in the box, so. So if this thing catches on fire here in a minute.
That means it's not like sharp. That's different.
Touch the bit.
No. I'm not gonna touch it. You know, I cannot tighten my bit anymore, or tighten that screw anymore. I'm down in there about that much. So I've got about another inch to go. JB said that we're about out of time. Does anyone have any questions about this? What I will do, I will go back and I will go home and enlarge the hole, maybe just a little bit, maybe not much. And
Take the little
finish
point
it.
out of it.
Yeah. But I've got some scrapers I can use at home to get a good bottom in it and all that good stuff. So, any questions about it? If not, we always welcome you to come up to Canyon, Amarillo, to our club meetings.
Y'all start at 9.
We start at 9, second Saturday of every month.
And where they are, if you get off the interstate on
It would be Hunsley Road.
Hunsley Road, and you go east,
It's just north of Canyon. Go east of I-27. Well, if you're coming from Lubbock,
it's still east of
It's-
I-27.
I think it's called. It's still But it's not called Hunsley Road. I think it's called 3331, FM 3331.
Yeah.
If you're still on I-27. But
We love
meet-
each other.
We meet out there in the country. I don't think any of JB's jokes are fun. Never have. So, but anyway, it's been my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.